grow hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gon' rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, grow hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
I wake up every minute with a fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Stroke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed
to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and yes, we're trying to kink out some of the technical difficulties that are going on. We're trying to figure some stuff out with YouTube. Mr. Dr. Illusions is going to be coming through in a moment. As soon as he could figure out his side, we were trying to get his channel also to be broadcasting, but he gave me the Odyssey channel. So those who are watching Odyssey, hello, welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. We're still trying to figure this out. I mean, this is the 6th show. We should have had this down packed, but it's been a while since me and Doc have spoken, so we're kind of like out of sync at the moment. But he'll be here shortly, and we'll try to get this corrected, hopefully sooner than later. I'll go ahead and send this out to him so he could come on here. I mean, we'll figure it out for the next show, because we're trying to broadcast on 2 channels. Actually, I'm broadcasting on 3 channels at the moment. Over at My Mind Over Your Matter, also My Mind Over Your Matter 2. I kind of forgot the name of the show already. And also broadcasting on Dr. Illusion's channel. Trying to see if he's going to get on here. Because for some reason it's not broadcasting on his channel. And I think it's because I need the URL and the stream key from YouTube and not from Odyssey. He gave me the Odyssey, so I don't know if Odyssey broadcasts on YouTube or how does that work. I'm not too familiar with Odyssey, but I got the information from Odyssey, linked up the show, shows up and going. Should be fine right now. Hey Albert, hey, the Legacy of Beyond. What's that? Oh, dope song. Thank you. It is pretty dope. We're gonna go ahead and I'll be on here in a moment. I'm waiting for Dr. Lucius to come through. If you're waiting in the background, just give me a moment. I'm just waiting for Dr. Lucius to come through. And then once I get him in here, then I'll bring in people from the outside to come on in. And we're going to have a great conversation here in a moment. I'm telling him to jump on here, so we get him on here. Let me send him one more message. Hopefully he would jump on. Not to worry so much about it because the show could be always put over to his channel, so he could broadcast over here. But let's go ahead and bring in Dr. Legends. Yo, what's up, brother?
Yo, man.
What's going on?
Not much.
We're trying to figure this out. I think because when we put it on Odyssey, I don't know how Odyssey works, if they broadcast on YouTube or I just don't know how that works.
We did it before.
Yeah, we've done it before, and he dropped out. He dropped out. It's okay. Give him a moment. He'll be right back. This is what happens when me and Dr. Lucius get together. We always have like some kind of technical issue or the energy is too high. But he'll be here, hopefully. We heard his voice, so we know he's here. Let me bring in his guest. Hello. We can see you, we can hear you. Let's see, it's not coming on. And we're having pretty good technical difficulties. And it's okay. I hope everyone has a great day and is having a good day and a good, just the energy is very high right now. People are still trying to find their way around this crazy times of energy. Our sun is acting up tremendously and no one's really talking about it. And our the way our system is acting, our solar system is kind of like in a weird way right now. And also, how come we keep finding moons around Jupiter? Just the other day, we just found 12 more moons around Jupiter. Go figure. Yeah, and there's no life out there, right? Wrong. Bringing back illusions. Yo, what's up?
Too much energy, man.
Too
Always,
much.
always.
Too much energy, man. Yeah, man. I'm gonna bring in your friend here. If
Yeah, yeah.
all
I've been
right.
wanting you guys to meet for a minute.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and bring.
There are very few people that I've met over time. You being one of them, obviously, Rick. Like I've known you like 6 years now.
Yep.
Like I haven't known him as long as you, but like I get the same vibes, man. Like he's really good people.
All right. So he does like what I do, like the psychic and path stuff.
He's more like me. We're on a very similar path.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
more into you know, like the type of stuff that I am. The more practical, magical, but he sees like all sides.
All right. Let's
Like
just bring
they're
him in.
all one fucking thing, you know?
All right.
Like
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's good?
What's happening?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. By the way, my name is
yo,
Rick.
bro.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Twilight. Nice to meet you.
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
Rick is good people, man. The way we like, in fact, there's a video of the day we met, and you watch the video, and it's like surreal, dude. It's like when we first talked, X. Like shit just brings you together sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter where you are, where you're from, what your path is, what your. The thing with me and Rick though is we actually grew up in the same area, but we never met.
No,
And like
Okay.
we went through a lot of the same shit, and
we went through the same pretty much craziness,
it's pretty crazy, man.
and we end up finding each other at a later time in life.
And he knows my girl,
Oh
And-
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
man. And the dude, like I'm telling you, like, and then I told you like her connection with like Lilith that she didn't even know about, and like, dude, there's like so much crazy shit, bro. And people say it's supernatural and magic isn't real. Like, bro, it is everything. Everything is magic. Everything is supernatural. But it really, the natural is the supernatural. You know,
Right.
and everything is like consciousness. Everything is mind. Nothing is mundane. Nothing is random. It's fucking insane. Like the truth is that every action, like Zen, like every action is a magical action. You know, breathing is a magical action. We shouldn't be here by all probability and all, if you look at things from a reductionist, materialist perspective, we shouldn't fucking be here. The universe shouldn't be as it is. What do they call it? Fine tuning. It doesn't make sense. It's a miracle.
Yeah, it's a miracle, right? But then, what are the chances, right? What are the odds of us entwining with each other here on this plane?
Bro,
Let me turn on my camera.
and time and space and like the internet was created by the military originally, and they had their own devices for it. And this is another thing, dude. You could look at like all the stuff with the military and like DARPA and the UN and all this shit. I'm not on my YouTube right now. I'm on Odyssey, so I say what the fuck I want. The UN and the WEF and the Zionist Sabbateans and all this shit they've created for their own use, like the universities and all that. That wasn't to educate us, that was to educate them. But then there were vendors and there were free spirits that took that and used it for other purposes, and people are greedy So like you create the internet for, to speak to each other and for war, basically. It was originally created for war purposes. And they had databases and whatever the fact, but it's just like they write these books in the 1800s about their plans and shit, and they don't expect anybody to read them 150 years later.
Yeah.
But it's all there.
I think the main part of the main part of the internet was from CERN. CERN created the internet.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And it was for military uses.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I can get a little deep for a minute, like, bro, you know how I always talk about maritime law? A hospital is a military appendage. Hospitals were originally created by military. You have the Knights Hospitaller. Were the first hospital. And they were appendages of the Vatican. But the Vatican, this is the twist. The Vatican is based on ancient cults that have nothing to do with Yeshua, the Christ, who they created a copy, a mock religion, and distorted his teachings. And he probably existed 100 years before they said he did. And I have a lot of reasons for why I believe that, but that's a side story. And these churches this is what I've come to, the realization of, the gnosis of. These churches are not there to spread the gospel. They're there to distort it. Just like Jesus said, they stand at the gates, but they don't enter, nor do they allow others to enter. And so this whole system is ecclesiastical. Politics, religion, and law are all intimately interlocked. Like when you go to a court and they wear the black robes, and you go to a priest and they wear the black robes is the black robe of Saturn. Saturn is the inhibitor, the one who teaches you a lesson. It's not negative, although they turned it male. Originally, it was female because it represents the material world, Malkuth. Because Saturn and the Earth are interconnected. They always have been. But they go to the darker side. Now, if you go to Saturn, the actual planet Saturn, physically, I don't usually talk literal, but this is literal, and you'll see there's a 6-pointed star on Saturn. Go read the book Saturn and the Jews. They talk about it. It was written by a Jewish author. There's some interesting things about that. Or you look at like the Brotherhood of Saturn, which is interesting. And they're into some stuff that I don't sponsor or advocate, but they have some interesting gnosis. And power and knowledge is power and knowledge. It's what you do with it. But there is this Brotherhood of Saturn. But behind Saturn is something more elusive. And the point of all this is a system that was created thousands of years ago, and it's just mutated. So all these religions, whether it be Islam, Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, are all perversions of the original teachings. I don't believe that the powers that wish they were, the powers that should not be, created any of these religions. I believe they distorted them. I don't believe they're that enlightened, because I believe that if they created the parables and the teachings of Krishna or Jesus or whatever, they wouldn't act as they act. I don't think that's possible. Because if they understood the gravity of what was actually being said, they wouldn't be able to do, like, do you see what I'm saying? So I think it's more likely that they perverted something that was it was a Manly P. Hall and Blavatsky talked about the perennial wisdom, the perennial philosophy, that ultimately everyone was reaching for the same divine source. It's been called endless, has endless names and endless masks and endless cultural representations, but really it's the same. The all, creator source, the infinite, the absolute, the generator, you know, whether it's in Native American, whether it's Aboriginal Australian, whether it's African, whether it's shamanic, whether it's Christian, whatever the fuck it is, it's the same source. But they've used these scribes and Pharisees and lawgivers and all this other shit. And it's distorted that essence. I know a rabbi, okay, who talks about like how the Torah is written, in 5 layers. And to read it literally is insane. That nothing in it is literal. It's all symbolic and psychological.
Huh.
And so, like, the true Israel is everybody. The Jews are 1/12 of the tribe of Israel. The rest are a scattered multitude. And the true understanding of Israel is those souls that are aligned with trying to understand the divine within and therefore become closer to the divine without. It's not, it's a choice. You're not chosen, it's a choice. And so the nefesh, the animal souls, the goyim and the real understanding is the ego. But they turn it into this war and this jihad and all this crazy shit. Same with Islam. If you look into Sufism, it's not that. It's all non-duality. Everything is the mind of God. It doesn't matter if you're looking to Shaktiism or Shaivism or, Taoism or whatever. When you peel back all the political, is really what it is. When they attach politics to religion and say that it's somehow part of the holy doctrine, that's when problems arise. But if you actually look at these texts from a non-dual perspective, it's talking about the same thing. I read something in the Old Testament yesterday that threw me back. It's talking about sending serpents because they're hungry and they're in the wilderness. And they're like begging for food. And instead of sending them food, he sends them serpents. And the serpents kill some of the people. So then Moses asks, we need food.
Yeah.
And people are dead, but then it says, rise the serpent upon the pole. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It upon the pole. And he says, those who look at the serpent will live. And I'm like, wait a fucking minute, dude. That's Samael. That's I poison you, you die, and then you're resurrected. And I feel bad. I actually know what I'm talking about. I'm like, that's what's right there. Holy shit. And they turn it into, like I said, with the Mahabharata, there's all these wars and shit. You would think that the Indian tradition was genocidal. But when you realize it's a war within, it's different. Well, true Judaism was the same at one point. And this is how they control people.
I personally think that the Bible is heavily codified. I've been doing a lot of delving into the Christ consciousness and Christ figures. And honestly, everything seems to stem back to the gods or goddesses of love. Even when you come to like the Bible, like in 1 John, it talks about how God is love. And a lot of the gods that are attributed to Christ throughout history, or the Christ figures, are gods of love. And so to kind of use religion or these gods to divide us is not the pure way. It was not the original idea.
I could agree with that.
No. It says that Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And it says that God is simple. The truths are simple. People would be confounded by the simplicity of Christ. It was too simple that they couldn't bear it. It was like, no, that can't be it. It can't be that easy. You know, and if you think about that, you meditate on that, it makes a lot of sense. It's the same with yogic culture. You know, I don't agree with all the things he says, because some of the things he says is just out there. But I agree with a lot. Is Sadhguru. You know, if everyone's familiar with him, he talks about that. We make things way more complicated than they are. And, you know, real enlightenment is seeing things clearly, seeing things as they are, not what they appear to be. And enlightenment is about lightness, not luminescence, not light. Light is transitory. So to say that everything comes from light is ridiculous, because light begins and ends. Darkness is always there. Darkness is the silence. Darkness is the breath. Darkness is the womb.
Totally could agree on that.
But then, at the same time, you could also say that darkness is what light. How you look, but it's like everything has been inverted, and the biggest thing though is after trying to be completely pagan for a few years. And even becoming satanic, here I am. And I feel like Source is laughing at me because it knew. Okay. But it's like, dude, Jesus was for real. They perverted the shit. He tried to sound the alarm. He was the first conspiracy theorist. Okay. And nothing's changed. It's happening right now. Like, it's happening right now. I'm talking about prophecy. That's the prophecy. Shit ain't changed. The word is alive, as they say. He said that he was the living waters. It's interesting. He says the living waters when we're in this system of maritime law, where you're dead in the water. That's why you have to be presented again. And you have to rise. You've been summoned. And then you have to rise. You're summoned, and then you have to rise. Why do you have to rise? Because you can't speak. You're a dead man. You're in cemetery law. You're dead in the water. You're drowning in debt. You know, everyone's like, well, why is it water? Well, the earth is 70% water. But guess what? You're 70% water. So even if you weren't in water, you're still water. But they tell you that you're dead. You're a person. You're a corporation. It's a corpse. The plural is a corpse, and it's a corpse ration. The rationing of a corpse. What's a ration? When they do the rituals with the coffins and shit, and like skull and bones and shit, if you look at the outline of the parameter, it's the tree of life.
You know, I'm not far from that.
It's the tree of life. Dude, I have Knights of Malta, like one of their headquarters down the street.
Yeah, me too. I have the Skull and Bones. They're right
I thought about hitting them up,
about 20 minutes away from me
but
because I'm in
that's
Connecticut.
no. I have a Masonic building too, but that's no big deal. Knights of Malta, they're up there, man.
Mhm.
They're
Let me
Yeah.
tell you, Yale University. That's a creepy ass university. Because I might do a walking tour, you know, from there, so you guys can see Yale and you
what
can
the
see
fuck
the
does
skull
Yale
and
mean?
bones.
That's what always gets me interested. When you have all these like brands and shit,
Hmm.
and like they mean nothing in English. What does Yale mean in the dictionary? Like what does that mean?
Yale. I need to like pause.
Whenever you see shit like that, like Pepsi. What's Pepsi? Right? And then it has the red and the blue. Well, I can tell you what Pepsa is, or APEP. You know, dude, it's all over the place.
Hmm.
They use all these fucking. You have like Mazda. Mazda is a Hura Mazda, and then they have what? It looks like the bull, but really it's the ovaries of the female. It's all subliminal shit to get people. You know, they spend you know millions of dollars to do fucking 30-second commercials, and they have like top psychologists sitting there with them that they hire to go over the commercial and make sure that it hits the right, you know, places subliminally. What you're seeing is just a distraction. They're
Hmm.
putting all kinds of fucking subliminal hemisync, tonal, whatever the fuck. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I said this a long time ago, man.
And then you look at like the Grammys and all that, they don't hide it no more.
Nope, no, they don't.
It's disturbing, dude. They got like the Satanic Temple doing abortion sacrifices. That shit freaked me
The
out.
Super Bowl is what killed me because I don't know, and I don't understand how insurances didn't prevent what happened in the Super Bowl because they just paraded Rihanna, right? And you know what?
I like Rihanna too. That's what's shitty.
She no, but the thing is that she knew she was pregnant.
I don't know how real she is anymore, but when she first came out, dude, she was sexy as fuck.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now I don't know. It's so much subliminal messaging from it.
She's like MK Ultra by now, probably.
It was just I don't know how the hell she performed pregnant at the Super Bowl and put on one of those fucking Super Smash Brothers, level things going up and down. How about if she would have fallen or something, and she's pregnant, right? The liability. I don't understand how, and there's a symbolism to it, and people are not picking it up. She is with child. She's
I
performing in
know,
the biggest
I
show in
know,
the world, where it's all eyes are on her,
dude.
and she's
Me,
ascending with a child within.
I try as little as possible to focus on, unless it's like a separate thing. This is what I've been thinking lately, and this might be what I end up doing. Is I might try to put together a presentation showing the structure and like the blueprint and the system and the methodology and the esotericism of this hex that's been put over people, because I've been studying it on and off, whether I was looking at it from other people's perspectives or through direct gnosis or just through mundane looking at shit and being like, oh, that's what that is. You know, I've submerged myself in riddles and ciphers and from the time I was before I even got into the occult. I don't know why. I've always like I used to read books on like lateral thinking and shit. I've always thought like that. I got in trouble in school for fucking questioning that there was more than one way to find answers, and I said I didn't know what the fuck I was. I got pissed off that I had to swear the Pledge of Allegiance. And I said allegiance. I said allegiance. I was like probably like fourth grade. I was like, I looked up the definition of the word allegiance, and like I don't know what I'm pledging allegiance to. I'm like, I'm part Ojibwe, and I know the story of like what happened. Like what is this allegiance? I'm like, what, what? And they got so mad at me, and it's funny because like when I first heard it, I used to like say it over and over again, and I used to feel good about myself because I felt like it was a good thing. And then I looked into it and like Thanksgiving and all that type of shit, and that's kind of how this started, I guess. Like if I go to the very beginning, I started remembering because of meditation and workings that I've done. When I say workings, I mean time that I've spent with spirits that I commune with, and through meditation and etc., magical workings. Like I always like the true origins of like Christmas, you know, or like like with Saturnalia and shit. Like I was looking into that shit when I was like a teenager, and I always just thought it was weird, like nursery rhymes and like a lot of like album covers and shit. I would look at the art, and I would I got into like Marilyn Manson and a lot of the symbolism that he used and the lyrics just really got me, and like Tool and uh, just it. It was like if I liked something, I wanted to know why, because there was shit I would hear or see, and it would attract my attention, and I wouldn't necessarily understand why. And because I've always had such like a eclectic sense of everything, it made it even more interesting. Like for instance, when I first heard DMX, I'm like, this dude is telling like the absolute truth about what he's talking about. I can feel it. I don't know who this dude is, but like I can just feel it. Like he's been through some real shit. And I can also tell that he's like not talking completely direct. And I'm like, there's something different, you know. Uh, Same when I heard Corn for the first time. I'm like, dude, this is genuine. Like, I don't know what the fuck, you know. Metallica, I was always like, there's more to these lyrics. What are they talking about? You know. like
The one that comes up a lot in my head, and he's coming out so strong in my head, is what's his name from Lincoln Park?
Ozzy.
Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
He's coming to me. He's like, yo,
I found him when I was like 12.
you only know half of the shit.
Well, I'd be here forever if I sat and mentioned all of them, and they're all like from everywhere, and that's the thing. But there were some in particular that really stood out.
Oh, he dropped off for a second. He probably got a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Chester Bennington. What's Bennington? I forget his last name.
Yeah, him and Chris Cornell, and like two other guys tried to stop the trafficking. Yeah.
I could just hear him screaming in my head. That's what it's like. Like I hear him. I feel his energy. I hear his energy right now. And it's like,
if you've ever looked into like Marilyn Manson and like his symbolism and lyrics, but he's telling a whole other story than what you hear. Like that shit is so like magical. It is ridiculous. He uses so much like Kabbalistic and like neat, like almost Masonic, like symbolism, and then like just pure like raw human emotion. It's like it's crazy.
I
I
keep
don't
seeing.
know him anymore like that, but when I first found him, he helped me like sort out a lot of things that I was trying to figure out. That's an interesting story. He also introduced me to Aleister Crowley. I wasn't ready for it yet, but I was introduced. And Anton LaVey. Because he was a member of Anton LaVey's Church of Satan. More like a honorary member, but he was a member.
Well, what I think is interesting about Marilyn Manson is that, when I used to be a Christian, they used to call him satanic. And when I listened to the lyrics, there was nothing that was really satanic that I found within the lyrics. It's basically pointing out the hypocrisy within society and like the fakery. Yeah. And
exactly.
That's when I really started to question like why they would condemn this person. And, with him being part of Anton LaVey's church, when I read the Satanic Bible was basically doing the same thing, calling out the hypocrisy. Like there wasn't anything that was necessarily evil about what Anton LaVey was teaching. It was basically just saying, do what you're going to do because like all this other stuff is just bullshit,
Yeah. And you're focused on Anton LaVey while George Bush and fucking everybody else has a party.
Epstein Island.
Marilyn Manson Brian Hugh Warner, okay, was attacked for Columbine. Now, Columbine is code. It's Colum, like Columbus, which is also fake.
Waco.
That wasn't his name. His name wasn't Christopher Columbus. It's a fake name. And he wasn't even Italian, which I didn't know for most of my life. And I hated myself. Oh man.
Yeah, because there was already people here.
Dude, there were people here over and over again. There's been multiple Native Americans. That's the real fucking truth.
Yeah, it's just they got invaded here. That's all.
And there were people of color here way before Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact.
Well, from what I studied, Columbus didn't even come to the Americas. Like, he came to the islands.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even step foot in the actual what we call United States.
Okay, we're on Odyssey, so I guess it's okay.
No, fuck it. I don't care. The truth needs to be said. You know.
Hey, I give no fucks about anything. I'm all about the truth. So, all this censorship, like,
it's called sponsored censorship because they get a lot of sponsor money, you know, and they're the ones that can kind of like have the money to control the narrative. So what's heard and what's not heard.
Dude, how they do it is they keep people in a primal. You already said it, dude. It's all ultimately about love. Okay? So in order to keep people from that love, okay, because there are two things in this world, love and fear. Evil is not, why does God allow evil? God allows evil because people choose to have fear and doubt. Fear and doubt come about as an absence of love. When you are in a state of love, you're in a vibration of love, in a true sense, not in some false, fake, love and light bullshit, okay? But truly, on the inside, without anything to fulfill you. When you've reached that in yourself, and you're at that vibration, then you become compatible with what the divine truly is. And so then you create at that level. And eventually you start to co-create with the divine itself. This is what Jesus was teaching.
Speaking of fear and love, go watch Donnie Darko.
So why does God allow evil? Evil is a choice. God doesn't allow evil. It's a choice. It's a deficiency of love. You can't have evil within, like, it's impossible. It's doubt. It's fear.
It's definitely fear because everyone's evil.
You feel what I'm saying?
Everyone's evil.
It exists. We create it. So it's not that God's allowing it, it's that we're creating it.
Yeah.
God is beyond evil. It has it within it, but it chooses not to utilize it. We are not at that level yet. So there is a goddess and there is a God, but we're not there yet. But this God is unreachable at the moment. We can't put it into words. We can't define it. We can't. you know, but it's there, and it's pure unconditional love and wisdom and freedom. And that's what the Christos, the Solar Logos, the counterpart of Sophia, of Lilith, of Christos Lucifer. Because I think that I don't think Lucifer and Christ are the same. Although it's interesting that some Sabbateans believe that he's the reincarnation of Cain. I thought that was really fucking interesting. Because if you think about it, Cain was the one who was a vegetarian and connected to nature. And some interpret it as Cain was the higher self, actually.
Well, I personally think that Lucifer has different aspects, but the archetype of Lucifer and the archetype of, let's say, Jesus are very similar.
Yes.
I believe that Lucifer is like one of the faces of Lucifer was like Prometheus.
Yeah.
And how Prometheus brought fire or knowledge to mankind so that they could benefit themselves when the so-called gods didn't want to help out mankind and wanted them to eat like the bones and basically the garbage when it came to feeding from the animals. And I think there's a parallel because when you saw Jesus brought knowledge to the regular people, and the so-called religious leaders of the time were very elitist. And then you also had the Romans, like the government that was suppressing the people. So in a sense, if you consider these men who are considering themselves gods, you can see that Lucifer has the same knowledge as well as Christ and is actually rejecting the godhood that the current narrative is, turning these elites into. And he's bringing the same knowledge that they have to the common people. So in that sense, I believe that Lucifer and Christ are the same.
Well, I mean,
I agree.
Lucifer and Christ,
because he's not innocent.
referred to as the morning star.
He's not innocent.
Everybody knows that.
Well, Jesus is associated a lot with the morning star. If you look into the Bible, the star that led the three magi to Herod and then to Jesus, that was Venus, the morning star. There were a couple of other examples how he was connected to the morning star that I have in my research, but like Jesus is heavily associated with Venus and the morning star. So there's definitely something to that.
Well, there was a sect of Christianity called the Luciferians in the 3rd century. And some of these martyrs, get this, some of these martyrs, man, this is what my conspiracy is starting to become. And it's making me happy, but it's making me feel a little delusional too. To be honest with you. So tell me the truth. Like, some of these martyrs, this is true, that we hear about, Christian martyrs, they were like Gnostics and Hermeticists. And what if the truth is that this has always been the truth? That the real so-called Christians were the Gnostics and the Hermeticists, and they really were the people that were preaching the gospel, and they really were trying to show people their divinity. And the church came and hijacked that and tried to keep people away because they knew it was a science, and they knew that there was power, and they knew that there was a divinity that we could become compatible with, and thus vibrate with, sit with, walk with, reign with.
Well, you really have to ask yourself, why were the Gnostics? Why did they attempt to wipe out the Gnostics so hard? Why was the Gnostic Christianity rejected for the foundation of what is mainstream Christianity now? Because Gnostic just means knowing. And if you look at Christianity today, a lot of modern day Christians, they don't even know the Bible as it is. They don't know anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to believe or to know? Jesus says, know the truth. Don't believe it. Don't think about it. Where does he say to? I mean, listen to his own words. He says, if I speak to you, I speak in parables. If I speak, if I like, if I am to speak with you, it's in parables. Don't expect me to speak to you any other way, more or less. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's like, what part of that don't you understand? Parable. That means not literal. Jesus said it himself to you, and you're saying it's literal. Are you listening to Jesus, or are you listening to your pastor, who's going to lay you out to pasture? Like, what the fuck, And you got these cardinals and deacons. You ever think about this? Cardinals and deacons and the 12 everything. Like, it's astrotheology. They took astrotheology and they mixed it with some of the teachings of Yeshua. Because you have God's Son, the light of the world, comes into the world. God said, hey, there needs to be light, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And he said, let there be light. And it was there and it was good. The light comes in the earth. China didn't create it. America didn't create it. So it's God's Son, the light of the world. And it comes into the earth. And it's it's the light of the world. And when we wake up, it comes up and it brightens the whole sky, and it's our risen Savior and God's risen Savior. And it it goes onto the Southern Cross, and it expends its energy. And every day it expends its energy to give us life. So it dies so that we shall live. And it has 12 apostles, and you got four disciples, and you got the news. Gospel is the news, right? North, east, west, and south. And you got Aries, okay, with the freaking ram horn, okay, and then you got the twins. You got Judas. What's he do? He's the backbiter, right? And it says he kisses Jesus to identify. That's the kiss of death. They use it in mafias and societies. It's a symbol. So it says in the Bible, this is actually really interesting and plays into my theory. Like, that's actually what it says. It says that Jesus was kissed to be identified. Why would he need to be kissed to be identified if he was doing magic tricks and miracles and magic? Real magic. Would have been pretty obvious. Well, it's because of the astrotheology, but the way it's written is very curious. And then you look into the Gnostic text and the Gospel of Judas, and it says that Judas knew the truth. And then it gets interesting from there. And yeah. Yeah. But anyways, it's Scorpio. When a scorpion stings you, it looks like two lips. And then the spear that pierced his side is Sagittarius. Aquarius, he says, go to the man with the water pitcher and go into the upper rooms when I'm gone at the end of the age. What the fuck does that mean? Unless you know astrology, it doesn't mean anything. So they put their own doctrine and they mixed it with the true teachings and then embellished the shit and turned it into a fantasy, a literal story. It was really a symbolic metaphor, a parable. It had a spiritual reality. It's all God's son walked on water. Yeah, if you look at around noon, you'll see the sun walk on water. It's all it's all a story. You're dead for 3 days. 23, 24, 25, the sun doesn't rise. Like, there's so much to that. Then after the 3 days, it comes back up.
Well, guys, I actually have to go.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me on the live stream.
That's cool.
Hopefully, I'll talk to you again. And Twilight, I know I'll talk to you.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Okay.
We'll do it again, definitely. This is interesting. I like this talk, I could go hours with this.
Bro, what's really crazy?
Going hours.
You have the Ark of Noah. You have the Ark of Noah, right? Go look up the Ark of Noah. It'll trip you out. The Ark of Noah.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, man.
All right, man. Deuces.
See you. Oh, belly. This is like our own church. This is like, come on and watch and listen. We have Doc Illusions preaching.
Dude, it's all astrology.
You know, nobody looks at the sky anymore,
I'm gonna give you an extreme, like, hold on.
except now because of the
I got
balloon.
I got notes. I'm gonna show you how deep this really fucking goes.
Because I guess they want people to look at the sky now.
So anyone who's skeptical will see like how ridiculous this really is.
Hmm.
Like it's astrotheology.
Bring it out here. So like, can't remember how that shit on here. You know, and the crazy shit is that my mind goes like everywhere, right? And I'm seeing all this stuff.
The story of Jesus is bullshit, literally. but but he existed.
Yeah, he existed. It's just a story of his story. It's like
It's a
TMZ.
story.
They
It's a
put
story.
TMZ on his ass, and he was TMZ'd. I call it TMZ because, yeah, how did they document this whole guy and all this information and stuff? It's like he had to have TMZ at that time, just recording everything he did, and or like that's impossible word for word. Like did he have a microphone on? Did he have like a crew there, you know, documenting everything word for word? Like, I don't know. That's just crazy. I don't know. It's just crazy talk. It's just because I see the Bible and then I'm like, come on. There's someone like was there a reporter the whole time?
Dude, all you gotta know is that ultimately it's not Greek, it's not Roman, it's Egyptian. That's the end all be all.
Mm-hmm.
It's astrotheology.
Mm-hmm.
So the story is Egyptian, but the real roots are astrotheology that goes into multiple cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But the basis of it is,
Yeah, I see the color green. I kept saying green. Everything's like green. It's like we only know part of a story. You know what I mean? That book is so incomplete. It's not even funny. It's not. It's like an outline. That's all it is. It's not. You know. That's what I'm saying. They have so many books on this dude. Like he had a full crew, yo. He had like he was living it. Yeah, people coming, listening to him, and documenting, and like that's how I see it. I'm like, come on now, are you serious? I just feel like the Bible is just a bunch of stories put together, and it's just life at that time. You know what I mean? It's just it's documented history.
it's Persian and Egyptian.
Hmm. You know, was Jesus born in Africa? You know, it's like
I think that Jesus,
because there was like he was born in Africa. And then that throws a monkey wrench to the whole fucking story. It's like, oops. Yeah, well, you know, we were disputing lands at that time. Okay, that's how you say it.
well, I know he was probably born like 100 years before they say he was.
I think everything is just
Or the after
manipulated.
the fact.
Yeah, it's just they don't have the they don't got their story straight.
I don't know where he was born,
this, this
but it's
kid,
possible. I think he was Egyptian, so I mean, I
Mhm.
guess he would have been born in Africa,
It's Africa.
right?
It's
Yeah.
African. It's African. Like Egypt is no different. It's not
Well,
at
there's
all
parts
different.
that aren't, but I mean, it's like
It's Africa.
it's.
He was born from the motherland.
I mean, like I said, Egypt. Moses was, He had to have been Egyptian.
There's a lot of like they so like what's so bad about Africa? like
It's
like
been fucking destroyed. Nothing's wrong with it.
they just like really like I don't know, man. Africa's just like the Americans are just don't know much of Africa, and yet they want to know about the universe and there's life out there and discovering planets and moons around Jupiter that they just discovered a few weeks ago. Like
Bro,
you
because
don't even know your own. You don't even know your own world.
pillage Africa.
You don't know your world. You don't
They
even know.
pillage. They pillage Africa.
Africa's been like they're gonna get hit. Oh, actually, Madagascar, yo, they're gonna get hit by a bad hurricane. Actually, probably by tomorrow, I think, by like a Category 5 hurricane, a small one too. You know what it remind me of? It remind me of Hurricane Andrew, that hurricane. I'm like, I hope Madagascar is ready for this hurricane. Yo, that thing is like it's a little but it's strong. The motherfucker's strong. It's a strong hurricane. Um, little later, probably I'll do like a video of it, like showing the radars and stuff, because it's a strong hurricane. It's gonna kill a lot of people. So yeah, but I feel like a lot of people are dying this year because it's a sacrifice year. Like look at the earthquake that happened over in Turkey, and in my visions, I saw over 100,000 dead. In my visions, I saw 100,000 people dead. That's. I feel like that's a sacrifice because Earth is like I feel like they just replenishes like the Earth with blood. It's like a sacrifice. Like it's part of the ritual. Like I just feel like there needs to be blood on this Earth to feed it. You know, because it's a living thing too, and it requires blood. We take so much from it, right? Like gas and oil, and we need to replenish it somehow with something. And I feel like they give back with the bodies, the blood, back to the earth. And I think big events like this that happens, I feel like it's something manipulated. Because we've been having a lot of solar events. There's been a lot of X flares happening. We just had one a few days ago that just popped off the sun, and nobody pays attention to the sun. Everybody's worried about entertainment. Everyone's worried about the Kardashians. Everybody's worried about politics with the most senile president of all the world presidents that's been here. It's the worst. And we're in a puppet show. And I'm just trying to figure out if I'm in the Muppets or if I'm in Fraggle Rock. That's where I'm at. Like, what show am I at? And if I was gonna pick a show, I'll probably pick Fraggle Rock because they're badass. Other than that, like this world is the fingers that are controlling the trigger are so freaking like so evil and so fucking weird, and a lot of information like they're just suppressing. Like I don't think YouTube wants me to talk about
The
that.
Virgin Mother had been represented in Egypt by the maiden queen Mutum Uala, the future mother of Amenhotep III. Or sorry, Amenhotep, sorry, the third, some 16 centuries BC. who impersonated the eternal virgin to produce the eternal child. 4 consecutive scenes reproduced are found portrayed upon the innermost walls of the Holy of Holies in the Temple of Luxor, which was built by Amenhotep III, a pharaoh of the 17th dynasty. The first scene on the left hand shows the god Tot, the lunar Mercury, the annunciator of the gods, in the act of hailing. The next scene, the god Neth, in conjunction with Hathor, gives the new life. This is the Holy Ghost or Spirit that causes the Immaculate Conception. Neth being the Spirit by name in Egyptian. The natural effects are made apparent in the virgin swelling form. Next, the mother is seated on the midwife's stool, and the newborn child is supported in the hands of one of the nurses. The fourth scene is that of adoration. Here, the child is enthroned, receiving homage to the gods and gifts from men. Behind the deity of Neth on the right, 3 spirits, the 3 magi or kings of the legend, are kneeling and offering presents with their right hand and life with their left. The child thus anointed, incarnated, born and worshipped, was the pharaonic representative of the Aton, sun, in Egypt, the god Adon of Syria, in Hebrew Adonai. Let me repeat that. The child is thus announced, incarnated, born, and worshipped, was the pharaonic representative of the Aton, sun, in Egypt, the god Adon of Syria, and Hebrew Adonai. The child Christ of the Aton cult, the miraculous conception of the ever-virgin mother, personated by Mut-em-Hua as mother of the only one and representative of the divine mother of the youthful sun god. These scenes, which were mythical in Egypt, have been copied or reproduced as historical in the canonical Gospels, where they stand like 4 cornerstones to the historic structure and prove that the foundations are mythical. Jesus was not only born of the mythical motherhood, his descent on the maternal side is traced in accordance with his origin of the mythical Christ. The Virgin was also called the harlot because she represented the pre-monogamic stage of intercourse. And Jesus descended from 4 forms of the harlot: Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba.
There you go. It comes down to sex.
Bathsheba.
Comes down to sex. It's always some shit with sex.
Because there's power when you know how to direct your will beyond lust during sex. You have to be able to direct your will beyond lust during sex.
You know, it's funny, right?
That's magic. It's not easy, but it is possible.
That energy is the orgasmic energy, right?
If you
It's the ball.
beyond lust, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself. You just got to, at that point, be able to redirect it to your will. And you can do magic for real.
And if you do a good job,
especially if you're together,
9 months later, you get a baby.
Well, that's the other.
And then here comes a bill, and then here comes Pampers and milk and formula, and oh my God, going to the doctors, and like middle of the night emergencies, and children getting sick, and it's such a distraction.
So check this out. Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba, each of whom is a form of a stranger in Israel and is not a Hebrew woman. Such history, however, does not show that illicit intercourse was the natural mode of the divine descent, nor does it imply unparalleled human profligacy. It only proves mythos. In human sociology, the son of the mother preceded the father as the son of the woman, who was a mother, not a wife. The character is likewise claimed for Jesus, who was made to declare that he was earlier than Abraham, who was the typical great father of the Jews. Whether considered to be mythical or historical, Jesus states emphatically that he existed before Abraham was. This was only possible to the mythical Christ who precedes the Father as son of the Virgin Mother, and we shall find it so throughout. All that is non natural and impossible as human history is possible, natural, and explicable as mythos. It can be explained by the mythos because it originated in that which alone accounts for it. For it comes to this at last, the more hidden the meaning of the gospel history. The more satisfactorily it is explained by the mythos, and the more mystical the Christian doctrine, the more easily can it be proved to be mythical. The birth of Christ is astronomical. The birthday is determined by the full moon of Easter. Easter, Ishtar, the bunnies, reproduction, eggs, the moon,
Mm-hmm.
all Sunday. You go to Sunday service, you sit and watch the sun. Like, it's so crazy. And that's what I'm saying. It is a made up religion. It has nothing to do with Jesus. And that's what's so fucking crazy. And the real Jesus existed 100 years ago, before, they say, 100 something BC.
And they make it so religion, like all about religion. It's like, come on.
So that means the people that all say that they were a part of it, Constantine and Peter, and all them, they had nothing to do with him. His name was Yehoshua ben Pandira, Pandira. But then there's another people that think that he was based on two people, and there's a dude who's a magician who says that he was a reincarnation of Enoch. But anyways, um, I don't know. I think all of it's fucking possible. Uh, but yeah, okay. The more mythical the birth of Christ is astronomical. The birthday is determined by the full moon of Easter. This can only occur once every 19 years. As we have illustrated by the epoch of golden number, Jesus Christ can only have a birthday or resurrection once in 19 years in accordance with the Messianic cycle because his parents are the sun and moon, and thus appear in the earliest known representation of the man upon the cross. This proves the astronomical and non-human nature of the birth itself, which is identical with that of the full moon of Easter in Egypt. Cassani, the Italian astronomer, has demonstrated the fact that the date assigned for the birth of the Christ is an astronomical epoch in which the middle conjunction of the moon with the sun happened the 24th of March of half past 1 o'clock in the morning at the meridian of Jerusalem, the very day of the middle equinox. The following day, the 25th, was the day of the incarnation according to Augustine. But the date of the birth, according to Clement of Alexandria, for two birthdays are assigned to Jesus by the Christian fathers. He had no fucking birthday. Bullshit. That's why I believe it. Because they know it's not true. And Jesus never spoke his birthday. And it makes me think that that's almost a way of saying, don't believe it. They're going to say all this shit about me. Don't believe it. Because he said that. He said exactly that. They're going to say all this shit about me. Don't believe it. Okay, so two were assigned to by the Christian fathers, one at the winter solstice, the other at the vernal equinox. These, which cannot both be historical, are based on the two birthdays of a double Horus in Egypt. Plutarch tells us that Isis was delivered of Horus, the child, about the time of the winter solstice, and at the festival of the second or adult Horus followed the vernal equinox. Hence, the solstice and spring equinox were both assigned to the one birth of Jesus by the Christolaters. And again, that which is impossible as human history is the natural fact in relation to the two Horuses, the dual form of the solar god in Egypt. And here in passing, we may point out the astronomical nature of the crucifixion. The Gospel according to John brings up on a tradition so different from that of the Synoptics is to invalidate the human history of both. The Synoptics say that Jesus was crucified on the 15th of the month of Nisan. John affirms that it was on the 14th day of the month. A serious rift runs through a very foundation. As human history, it cannot be explained, but there is an explanation possible which, if accepted, proves the mythos. The crucifixion or crossing was and is still determined by the full moon of Easter. This is in the lunar reckoning, would be on the 14th in a month of 28 days, in the solar month of 30 days. It was reckoning to occur on the 15th of the month, both and the rift closes and proves the crucifixion to have been astronomical, just as it was in Egypt, where the 2 days can be identified. Plutarch also tells how the Mithric cult had been particularly established in Rome about the year 70 BC, and Mithras was fabled as having been born in a cave. Whether Mithras was worshipped, the cave, wherever Mithras was worshipped, the cave was consecrated as his birthplace. The cave can be identified in the birth of the Messiah in that cave, no matter under what name he was born. Can be definitively dated. The cave of Mithras was the birthplace of the sun in the winter solstice. When this occurred on the 25th of December in the sign of the sea goat with the vernal equinox in the sign of the ram. Now the Akkadian name for the 10th month, that of the sea goat, which answers roughly to our December, the 10th name is Abba Udu, that is the cave of light, the cave of rebirth for the sun, and the lowest depth of the solstice, figured as the cave of light. This cave was continued as the birthplace of the Christ. You will find it in all the Gospels of the infancy, and Justin Martyr says Christ was born in the stable and afterwards took refuge in the cave. He likewise vouches for the fact that Christ was born on the same day that the sun was reborn in Stabilo Ageo, or in the stable of Agios. Now the cleansing of the stable was the sixth labor of Hercules, his first being in the sign of the lion. And Justin was right. The stable and cave are both figured in the name celestial sign. But mark this, the cave was the birthplace of the solar Messiah from the year 2410 to the year 255 BC, at which later date at the solstice passed out the sea goat into the sign of the archer, and no Messiah, whether Mithras, Adon, Tammuz, Horns, or Christ, could have been born in the year of Abba Udo or the stable of Augias on the 25th of December after the year 255 BC. Therefore, Justin had nothing but the Mithric tradition, the bygone birthday, to prove the birth of the historical Christ 255 years later. In their mysteries, the Sarakini the birth of the baby in the cave of subterranean sanctuary, from which the priest issued and cried, "The Virgin hath brought forth the light," is about to begin to grow again. On the mother night of the year, and the Sarakini were not supporters of historic Christianity. The birthplace of the Egyptian Messiah at the vernal equinox was figured in Apta. But Apta is also the name of the crib and the manger. Hence, the child born in Apta was said to be born in a manger. And Apta, as a crib or a manger, is the hieroglyphic sign of the solar birthplace. Hence, the Egyptian exhibited the babe in the crib or manger in the streets of Alexandria. The birthplace was indicated by the color of the equinox as it passed from sign to sign. It was also pointed out by the star in the east. When the birthplace was the sign of the bull, Orion was the star that rose in the east to tell where the sun god was reborn. Hence it is called the star of Horus. That was then the star of the three kings who greeted the for the three kings is still a name of the three stars in Orion's belt. Here we learn that the legend of the three kings is at least 6,000 years old. So there's something real within the bullshit that's way deeper, that's 6,000 years old. But the story is a story. In the course of procession, 255 BC, the vernal birthplace passed into the sign of the fishes, and the Messiah, who had been represented 155 years by the ram or ram, and previously for other 2155 years by the Apis bull, was now imaged as the fish or the fishman, called Ithacus in Greek. The original fishman, the On of Egypt and Mesopotamia, and the Onassis of Samaria probably dates from the previous cycle of procession or 26,000 years earlier. In 255 BC, the Messiah, as the fishman, was to come up once more as the manifester from the celestial waters. The coming Messiah is called Gad, the fish, in the Talmud, and Jews at one time connected this coming with some conjunction or occurrence. The Pope wears the fish hat. The shit is deep. This shows that Jews were not only in possession of the astronomical allegory, but also of the tradition book by which it should be interpreted. It was the mythical and Crenonian Messiah alone who was or could be the subject of prophecy that might be fulfilled. Prophecy that was fulfilled as it is in the book of Revelation when the equinox entered the cross, was re-erected, and the foundations of a new heaven were laid in the sign of the Ram, 2410 BC. And again, the equinox created the sign of the fish, 255. Prophecy that will again be filled with the equinox and the sign of the waterman. About the end of this, the 19th century, to which the Samaritan, this is from the 19th century, to which the Samaritans are still looking forward for the coming of their Messiah, who has not yet arrived for them. The Christians alone ate the oyster. The Jews and the Samaritans only got an equal share. The empty shells. The uninstructed Jews, the idolatry, at one time thought the prophecy, which was astronomical and solely related to the cycle of time, was to have its fulfillment in human history. But they found out their error and bequeathed it unexplained to the still more ignorant Christians. The same tradition of the coming one is extinct amongst the Malarians and Adventists as amongst the Muslims. It is the tradition of El Mahdi, the prophet who has come in the last days of the world to conquer all the world, and who was lately descending the Sudan with the old announcement, "Day of the Lord is at hand," which shows the astronomical allegory has left some lies of true tradition among the Arabs who were at one time learned in astronomical lore. The Messiah as the fishman is perceived by Esdras ascending out of the sea as the same whom God the highest has kept great season, which by his own self shall deliver the creature. The ancient fishman only came out of the sea to converse with men and teach them in the daytime when the sun set, says Bersagus. It was the custom of the king to plunge again into the sea and abide all night in the deep. So the man foreseen by Esdras is only visible by day. As it is said, So can no man upon earth see my son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime. This is parodied, fulfilled in the account of Ithacus, the fish, the Christ, who instructs men by day, but retires to the lake of Galilee, where he demonstrates solar nature by walking the waters at night or at the dawn of day. We are told that his disciples, being on board a ship, where even was come in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went on to them, walking upon the sea. The fourth watch began to walk and ended at midnight. Therefore, this is the proper time for us, Lord God, to appear walking upon the waters, and coming up out of them, as the Onassis is said to have taken no food while she was with men. In the daytime, he used to converse with men, but took no food at the season. But Jesus, when his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat, said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. My meat is to do the will of him that has sent me.
This world has so much history, and yet it only talks about one story, right? But you know how many people were there at that time, and all those people had their own stories. I'm just saying, it's not just about the poster child. There's a lot of other people here, and they're very special too. So it's just a one-sided story. So
Yes.
so many people.
Corrupted.
Yeah, so many, and then like the Indian people, and then you have the Chinese, and they had their ways of life and their ways, of their teachings. It's everyone is so we live on this one planet, but yet we are so freaking different in our studies. But then we get together and we just try to like bring it together. But it's this world is it's a weird place, man. To me, I see all the other people. Like, I don't just focus on one person. That's why the Jesus, all right, that's a story. Okay, good. But there's so many other stories. If you go back and you see, there's so much stories. But they're all been burnt.
It says, It is not that I deny the divinity of Jesus the Christ. I assert it. He never was and never could be any other than a divinity that is a character non-human and entirely mythical.
Bring it on, baby.
The pagan divinity of various pagan myths that have been pagan during thousands of years before our era. Nothing is more certain, according to honest evidence, other than that Christian scheme of redemption is founded on a fable misinterpreted, that the prophecy of fulfillment was solely astronomical, and the coming one as the Christ who came in the end of the age of the world was but a metaphorical figure, a type of time from the first, which never could take form in historic personality any more time in person could come out of a uh, you know, uh, okay.
Hey, Abby.
Mystical Messiah was Horus Asar in the Asarian mythos. Har Kuti, Anthonian Khonsu, The cult of Aten-Ra and the Christ of the Gospels is an amalgam of all these characters. The Christ is the good shepherd, so was Horus. Christ is the Lamb of God, so was Horus. Christ is the bread of life, so was Horus. Christ is the truth and life, so was Horus. Christ is the fan bearer, so was Horus. Christ is the Lord, so was Horus. Christ is the way and the door of life. Horus was the path in which they traveled out of the sepulchre. He is the God whose name was written with the hieroglyph sign of the road or way. Jesus is he that should come, and Lu, the root of the name in Egyptian, means to come. Lu Emhept, as the Su, the son of the Atum, or the Ta, was the ever-coming one, who was always portrayed as the marching youngster in the act and attitude of coming. Horus included both sexes, the child or the soul is of either sex, and potentially of both, hence the hermaphroditic deity. And Jesus in Revelation is the young man who was the female perhaps. Lu Emhept signifies him who comes with peace. This is the character in which Jesus is announced by the angels. And when Jesus comes to his disciples after the resurrection, he is the bringer of peace. Learn of me, and ye shall find rest, says the Christ. Konsu Neferhep is the God rest, peace in person. The Egyptian Jesus, Lu Emhept, the second Atum. Paul's Jesus is the second Adam. In one rendition of John's Gospel, instead of the only begotten Son of God, a variant reading gives the only begotten God, which has been declared an impossible rendering. But the only begotten God was in a special type in the Egyptian mythology, and the phrase re-identifies the divinity whose emblem is the beetle. Or Apollo says to denote the only begotten because the creature is self-produced, being unconceived by a female. Now the youthful manifester of the beetle god was this Lu Hep, the Egyptian Jesus. The very phraseology of John is common to the inscriptions which tell of him, who was the beginner of becoming from the first, and who made all things, but who himself was not made. I quote verbatim. And not only was the beetle god continued in the only begotten God, the beetle type was also brought on as a symbol of the Christ. Ambrose and Augustine, among the Christian fathers, identified Jesus with and as the good Scarabus, which further identifies the Jesus of John's Gospel with the Jesus of Egypt, who was the ever-coming one and the bringer of peace, whom I have elsewhere shown to be the Jesus to whom the book of Ecclesiastes is inscribed and inscribed in the Apocrypha. In accordance with this continuation of the Chemite symbols, it is also maintained by some sectaries that Jesus was a potter and not a carpenter, and the fact is that this only begotten beetle god who was portrayed sitting at the potter's wheel, forming the egg or shaping the vase symbol of creation, was the potter personified as well as the only begotten God in Egypt. The character and teachings of the Tanakh are composed of contradictions that cannot be harmonized with the human being, whereas they are always fused with the mythos. He is the Prince of Peace, and yet he asserts that he came to not bring peace. I came not to seek for the sword. Not only is he come to bring with peace, but name in one character he is the sword personified in the other. In this he says, I am the living image of Atum, proceeding from him as a sword. Both characters belong to the mythical Messiah in the ritual, who also calls himself the Great Disturber and the Great Tranquilizer, the God Contention and God Peace. The Christ of the canonical Gospels has several prototypes. and sometimes the copy is derived of the trait is caught from one original and sometimes from the other. The Christ of Luke's gospel has a character entirely distinct from that of John's gospel. Here he is the great exerciser and God of humor. John's gospel is no case of disease or obsession. No certain man has been devil at this same time. No child is the devil. No blind man is possessed with the devil. Other miracles are performed by the Christ John, but not these, because John is a different type of Christ. In the original of the great healer and Luke's gospel may be found in the God conduit. What's funny about that is Alistair clearly talks about it. But anyways, who was the divine healer, the supreme one, amongst all the other healers and saviors, especially as the caster out and the expeller of possessed spirit. He is called God that does away possession. In the period of the princess, this God in his efficacy for by the chief of Bakhtin, who has an evil movement in her whose even recognized community, just as the expeller of most also the conduit a type of type. He is portrayed of the full moon of Easter, and the act of offering is a sacrifice. Remember Jesus in the state? Moreover, the judgment seat, when the wicked spirits are condemned and sent back into the abyss, the mode of return by mortal men is by entering the bodies of swine. Says Horus to the gods, speaking of the condemned one. When I sent him to his place, he went, and he has been transformed into a black pig. So when the exorcist in Luke's gospel cast out Legion, the devils asked permission of the Lord of the pig. That's so symbolic. To be allowed to enter the swine, and he gives them leave. This and much more that might be adduced tends to differentiate the Christ of Luke and to identify him with Khonsu rather than Luem Hept, the Egyptian Jesus, who was reproduced in the Gospel according to John. In this way, it can be proved that the history of Christ in the Gospels is one long and complete catalog of likeness to the mythical Messiah, the solar or lunar solar god. The litany of Ra, for example, is addressed to the sun god in a variety of characters, many of which are assigned to the Christ of the Gospels. Ra is the supreme power, the beetle that rests in the Empyrean, who is born as his own son. This, as already said, is the God in John's Gospel who says, I and the Father are one, and who is the Father born as his own son. For he says, in knowing and seeing the Son, from henceforth ye know him and have seen him, the Father. Ra is designated the soul that speaketh. Christ is the Word. Ra is the destroyer of venom. Jesus says, in my name they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. In one character, Ra is the outcast, so Jesus had not where to lay his head. Ra is the timid one who sheds tears in the form of the afflicted. He is called Remi, the weeper. This weeping god passes through Remrem, the place of weeping, and there conquers on behalf of his followers in the ritual. God says, I have desolated the place of Remrem. The character sustained by Jesus in the mourning over Jerusalem that was to be desolated. The words of John, Jesus wept, are like a carven statue of the afflicted one as Remy, the weeper. Ra is also the god who makes the mummy come forth. Jesus makes the mummy come forth in the shape of Lazarus, and in the Roman catacombs, the risen Lazarus is not only represented as a mummy, but is an Egyptian mummy, which has been eviscerated and swathed for the carnal abode. Ra says to the mummy, "Come forth," and Jesus cries, "Lazarus, come forth." Ra manifests as the burning one, he who sends destruction or sends his fire into the place of dark destruction. He sends fire upon the rebels. His form is that of the god of the furnace. Christ also comes to the person of his burning one, the sender of destruction by fire. He is proclaimed by Matthew to be the baptizer with fire. He says, "I have come to send fire on the earth." He is portrayed as God of the furnace, which shall burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. He is to cast the rebellion into a furnace of fire and send the condemned ones into everlasting fire. All this was natural when applied to the solar God, and is supposed to become supernatural when misapplied to a supposed human being to whom it never could apply. The solar fire was the primary African found of the theological hell fire in hell. The litany of Ra collects the manifold characters that make up the total God, termed Tempt. Sorry, Teb Temet, and the Gospels have gathered up the mythical remains. Thus, the result is in each case identical or entirely similar. From beginning to end, the canonical Gospels contain the drama of the mysteries of the Luna solar god narrated from from the ascent of Asar into the Mount of Transfiguration in the moon. The sixth day was celebrated as that is the change of a transformation of the solar god in the lunar orb, which he re-entered on that day as the regenerator of that light. That's so deep. Anyways, with this, we may compare the statement made by Matthew that after 6 days, Jesus went up 6 into a high mountain apart, and he was transfigured, and the face did shine as the sun, of course, and his garments became white as the light. In Egypt, the year began just at the summer solstice, when the sun descended from its midsummer height, lost its force, and lessened in its size. This represented Asar, who was born of the Virgin Mother as the child Haru, uh, diminished infantile son of Atum, the suffering, wounded, bleeding Messiah. As he was represented, he descended into hell or Hades, where he was transformed into the virile Horus and rose again as the son of the resurrection at Easter. And these two characters of Horus on the two horizons, Osiris, furnished the dual type of the canonical Christ, which shows very satisfactorily how the mythos prescribes the boundless beyond which the child in Egypt, the boy or girl, wore the Horus look of childhood until 12 years of age. Thus, childhood ended about the 12th year. But although adultship was then entered upon by the youth, and the transformation of the boy into manhood began, the full adultship was not attained until 30 years of age. The man of 30 years was the typical adult. The age of adultship was 30 years, as it was in Rome under Lex Papia. The Homo Fiat is the man whose years are triaded by tens, and who is Kemet, as with the man, so it is with the god. And the second Horus, the same god, and his second character is the Kempt Horus, the typical adult of 30 years. The god who gave up 12 years was Horus, the child of Isis, the mother's child, the weakling. The virile Horus, the sun, in its vernal strength, the adult of 30 years, 30 degrees, deacons, was representative of the fatherhood, and this Horus is the anointed son of Osiris. These two characters of Horus the child and Horus the adult of 30 years are reproduced in the only two phases of Jesus' life in the Gospels. John furnishes no historic dates for the time when the Word was incarnated and became flesh. Now for the childhood of Jesus, not for the transformation into the Messiah. But Luke tells us that the child of 12 years was the wonderful youth, and that he increased in wisdom and stature. This is the length of years assigned to Horus the child. And this phase of the child Christ's life is followed by the baptism and anointing, the descent of the prepubescent spirit, with the consecration of the Messiah in Jordan when Jesus began to be about 30 years of age. All right, I need a drink. For real. But are you catching on?
Yeah, I'm here listening to every word.
Mad, dude.
It's crazy.
So, but there's a real. This is the thing. Even though it's bullshit, there's something really fucking deep beneath it. It goes back 6,000 years, and really before that.
Subliminal messaging.
But
it's a message within a message.
But if you can understand it and use it, it's powerful.
Yeah.
And so that's the good thing. The bad thing is they lied to us about everything. So if they told you the truth, sorry, you were lied to. All the churches, all the ashrams, all the politicians, all the lawyers, they lied to you.
I know that. We know that.
Period.
Yep.
Don't watch the news. Forget it. You think they told you the truth? I'm sorry.
This is better for you listening to us now than probably going to any church.
Yeah. For sure.
This is like better than gospel.
Isn't it crazy how far it goes though?
It has it's kind of like the multiverse. It has so many.
It's the fucking Matrix for real.
Mm-hmm.
I give them credit how fucking deep they went with it.
Especially at that time.
Dude, but Jesus existed 100 years ago. This is an undeniable fact. Now, whether or not he was the only one, his name was Jehoshua ben Pendera. He some 100-something BC. You can find him, and he was like a mystic and shit. He was an occultist. Mm. He was killed for practicing magic. But if you look at his teachings, like it's interesting. Like he's real.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I opened my mouth. I wasn't going to reveal that, but fuck it. I just did. I was going to lead up to that, but no, yeah, he exists for sure. You should know me better than that. If I say I really believe something, it's like, cause no, I know something.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, he really did exist. Now, I think that the story is probably based on more than just him, but he was part of it because this guy was killed for practicing magic and basically trying to enlighten people. For real.
I just want to know who was following him.
But the story is based on Egyptian and Zoroastrian. It's bullshit. There's no virgin birth. There's no Jesus, light of the world. It's all astrotheology. It's the sun.
I love that portrait where they have like the spacecraft in the picture. With the alien, I guess, flying the.
Dude, the crown of thorns is the sun rays.
Mm-hmm.
You have teachings in astrology.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cardinal points. The zodiac. And you have what's called the Southern Cross. That's where Jesus was crucified, the Southern Cross. That's the cross. INRI is the elements in Latin. Not Jesus Christ, King of the Jews. They made that up.
I'm gonna.
It's Infernus Regnus Natura Integra or some shit like that. It's through fire all things are renewed. INRI. Through fire all things are renewed. That's what it really means. That's when he was crucified. Because he became the quintessence. He died to the four elements. He became the fifth element. That part is true. That's the real meaning.
I sent you a picture of my wand that I got from Salem.
That shit's
This is a better picture of it.
Why don't you just show me? Fuck.
Look at it. It's when I bought it, I thought of you.
I mean, we weren't live before, so that was different. But like,
yeah, no, I recently got it. I got it a few weeks. I got it like honestly, like 2 weeks ago. I went. Actually, no. Yeah,
like I've been sitting here chatting and shit. Like, how you been?
Oh man, I'm good here. Good listening to you. You know, getting back into the swing of things. You know, and been feeling a little off.
Yeah.
I was kind of concerned about you for a bit because that crazy train derailment and all that plume of smoke and all that bullshit was going around your area. So it kind of like freaked me out a little bit. So just be careful with that shit because out there it's a little crazy. I feel like the air is like really polluted.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So right now it's not like it is what it is. It's just they're doing shit behind our backs, and it's like they continue to do it. So,
dude, all you gotta do is look at it literally like Monopoly. Just look at it like Monopoly.
Yeah.
And it's a game, and it's not real. Like nothing works, nothing operates in this world like you're told it does. Governments don't work like you think they do. News doesn't work like you think it does. Hospitals don't work like you think they do.
Let me send this to your girl too. I'm gonna send it to the girl too because it's a beautiful wand, and I want her to see it.
Oh yeah.
In the light. So let me send it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally got it. That's the one I was talking to you about. That one is what I was talking to you about. That I saw it on Halloween, and I wanted to go get it.
The bank stole like a bunch of money from me, dude.
Who?
The bank.
Oh,
and my
Lord.
Discover. Yeah. They like did it together.
What?
Yeah. Like I tried to send money and it got denied.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't give me a reason why. And they just kind of like made it my fault instead of making responsibility for it. And yeah. So like I couldn't get down to the bank because I wasn't feeling well. And I was trying to send money and it wasn't going through.
Oh, Lord.
And even though I had a card like connected to my bank, it wasn't showing up for some reason. So I had to send it to my bank directly because it wasn't picking it up, like the connection between the two. It is now, but for whatever reason before it wasn't. And so I was saying I didn't have money when I did. And so I was getting like overdraft and shit. And it was like $200-300 in overdraft.
Well,
And yeah, and I've been like saving money, like fucked up my credit score, and it's my fault. Yeah. Yeah. I've had like perfect credit my whole life, like 730, 740, like it's like 6 something now.
yeah. It'll grow up in time. Don't let it bring you down.
I mean,
Because money, you know how money is. Money
dude,
comes
I've
and
been saving money, like not even doing shit for like my own fucking birthday or Christmas or like, and like they just take all that money because I've been looking like further ahead. You know what I mean? I've been looking for the long term, so I haven't just been like spending all kinds of money, you know.
yeah.
And then
I
they
mean,
just steal like $200-300 and then blame me.
yeah. Right now, the focus is, pay off the credit cards and save up for a vacation. Because I would like to go on vacation, and sometime in May or June and just go away for a week. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to do the cruise this year. I might save it a little bit later because I feel like they're going to come out with new ships and stuff like that. So I want to wait a little bit more. I might just go to Puerto Rico for like a week and just stay over there, and enjoy the climate out there and get some sun. So, the times now it's like it's just very weird right now. It's just weird.
That's never happened. That's never happened to me before. I've been with that bank like 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, they'll probably be like, "We know you've been talking shit about us through AI."
What's really insane is I don't even really think they were trying to do anything. That's just their policy. Like it doesn't matter if it was declined. It's not their fault. It's my fault. Like
The house always wins.
because they tried to be helpful, but like like that's just like that's just their corporate. Like I don't know. It's just fucked up.
Who's this bank so I don't go to them?
Well, it was Discover really that messed it up. Well, they caused it.
You blame Discovery. There's a Discover card.
It was. If it wasn't for technically, it wouldn't have happened.
That's a crazy company.
I've been with them for a while too. I mean, it's my own fault too, to be real. But like, it's still ridiculous. Like
The
they're
fees are
fucking,
ridiculous.
they're fucking cutthroat. It's really not I mean, according to their fucking conditions.
Yeah, terms and conditions and all this shit. Trying to do something here. Echo cancellation because it always keeps. Oh, there goes Doc. But let me see if I can bring this up on my computer so I can show you guys my wand. So I want the world to see my wand. Let's see. How do I check in? I always forget how to do this shit. QR code. Log in here real quick. So I get this pictures. Save image. Okay, how do I save them? Alright, well, let me see if I can do this. I should be able to do this how I could save these pictures. Well, I have them on my thing. I just gotta email it to myself. There must be an easier way for me to do this. So I could show you guys my wand. But I'll just do it the manual way. Okay. Share to my email. Where's my email? Gotta send it to myself, basically. Okay. Just add the pictures. There's a way of doing it through my phone, but it's like emailing it from one email to another, but attaching the pictures to it, so then I could bring it up on my computer. It's just I don't have my phone connected to the computer, so I could have easily pulled it from my phone, but I didn't want to connect my phone to the computer. So let me try to send this. I gotta put up a live, actually a short. I gotta do let me close this. Let me see if Doc came back. Hold on, I had another window open. So, all right, let me bring him back. Hey, buddy, sorry. I was in another window. You there, Doc? Well, I don't hear you. It's okay. Still working out the technical difficulties. It's okay. I'm trying to figure out the wand here. I'm bringing it up on my email. Then I'm going to save it on my computer, and then I can show you guys the picture. The thing is, my wand, it was there. It is the wand that I always talked about. I said I was going to go and get it. It was there when I went to go. I have a story behind it too, because when I got there, the place was closed because they're usually open only seasonal. Well, during the winter season, they're closed. They're usually closed December, January, and February. And they'll open up like around March and stuff. They'll open like a soft opening, and then they get into the season. Um, so I went to Salem and went out there, right? And the place was closed. Out of all the places, everything was open. That place was closed. And I was like, no. I was like, it can't be. I came all the way over here for the wand. And I went to other stores looking for maybe I'll find a different wand and so forth, and I just couldn't, like, they didn't have like what I wanted, and it didn't like it wasn't it. Like, this wand has specifically been there for me since Halloween. I went on Halloween for the first time to Salem, and I put my eyes on this wand, and I didn't buy it at the time because there was just too many people in the establishment, and I couldn't really. I can't hear you, Doc, but it's okay. It's not my side. I can't hear you. Like, Albie, I could probably hear Albie if he comes on. Albie, you there? Let's see if Albie comes on. Albie. Uh-oh. It's not my side. I know it's not me because I see the thing moving.
Hey,
So.
what's up?
Oh, there he is. Okay, so it's definitely Doc's side. I'm gonna try to bring up the pictures here. I'm working on it. We're one step closer. So we're gonna show you the wand to everyone on here. Let me find it. Here it is. Okay. I have to hit this one when I open. Okay, let me exit that. Okay, let me see if I can do this one with this one. Okay, give it 1 sec. Okay, good. I got both of them here. Okay, I'm trying to get both of them so that way. Put it to here. Just bring this down. Okay, yes, they're both here. So we're gonna take a look at the wand. My magic wand. I gotta show it off a little bit more. When I get the opportunity, I'll put it in a show. Like, I'll put it on. I'll probably put it on the back screen too, so people could see it. I could possibly do that. With no further ado, let's go ahead and show off the wand. Let me see if I can do this. Should be able to. So it's not under Windows. So it's under. So I'm gonna have to show my screen. Yeah, I'm gonna have to show my screen. Let's go ahead and share. There we go. So let me show you the wand. There she is. Wow, look at the details on it. You can see the serpent, the snake, wrapping around with the tongue sticking out. Got a pentagram. A lot of pentagrams around it. A lot of detail was put into this wand. This is silver, by the way. and there's the crystal ball on the top. Now I have the other picture here. Here's the other side of the wand, which is this has like a kind of like a warp hole because it sinks in. Here's a pentagram. Here's a spider web. Another pentagram. It looks like thorns. The pentagram here. These things look like little faces to me. For some reason, I look at it, it looks like little faces. And then here, you have another pentagram. Then you have some symbolism here. I don't know. This is like a spiral here. It looks like a drunk sperm, but it's a spiral. And then you have the pentagram up here. It's all silver. It's pretty heavy. I have it here in my hand. It reminds me of the wand that Mario used to, from Mario, I think it's 3, where he used to fight the bad guy and he gets the wand from the bad guy. It looked like that little wand that he held up. But that's the wand. And let's go back to the other picture here. Look at the snake. That's the coolest part. Like, that's how I remember this wand from all the pentagrams. Not only that, but the snake that was on it. And that's how I knew this is the wand. It had so much details on it. When I first saw it, I was gonna get it, but it was just so many people, and I had got like anxiety real quick, and then I had to get out of the store, so I couldn't like buy it in peace. It was just too much energy for me in there, and it was Halloween, and they had a psychic in there, and she was doing readings at the same time, and I'm like, too much energy. It was just way too much, and I couldn't. I had to leave, and I didn't buy it then, and it waited for me. It waited for me. It spoke to me. Like, it waited for me until I went last week, and I picked it up, and I grabbed it, and so happy that I did. I think it's been like almost like a week. I think it was. I think it was last Saturday. Is when I got it, and been happy ever since. It's been really cool. The details on it is very awesome. I love the snake on there. Um, just the facial, the tongue, the stars, like a lot of good symbolism around this. And I'm only showing you 2 sides of it because remember, this thing is all around. So, like, there's so many details to it, and it's so beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's one of a kind, too. This is handmade. This is a lot of heart and a lot of work went into this. And this is a one of a kind piece. And it's pretty pricey too. So I love it. It's probably one of my big but yet precious purchase I've made for myself, and this is gonna help me with my readings. I hold on to it. It's been it's kind of weird, but it's been sleeping with me at night. I would put it with me in the bed and let the silver next to me, and it actually gets my body heat. It would get really warm. Like when I pick it up in the morning, I would touch it and it'd be like super hot. Not super hot, but like really, really warm. Like, because I radiate a lot of heat at night. So this is like right next, like underneath me. And then like my bed is it's a Tempur-Pedic bed. So even I lay on this, I don't really feel this. I just feel the bed. and it would get my heat. And I've been sleeping with it to pass my energy to it, and it's definitely charged with my energy. The only thing it's gonna need is a little bit of my blood, and that's it. But I could do that anytime. Let me go ahead and stop sharing here real quick. Let me bring in Doc. Yo, Doc, do we hear you? Do you hear us? I don't hear you, Doc. Your mic is mute. But that's my wand, and like I said, it's been sleeping with me, and I'm giving passing my energy to it, and it feels very comfortable, and I feel the power when I hold it. I feel like an antenna, like that's an antenna, and it's giving me more energy and more focus. Um, Even for my readings.
That's dope as fuck.
Oh, you saw it?
I do now.
Let me bring it back up so you can show it again, because it is so nice. I thought about you when I bought it. Of all the details on it and the pentagram on it.
Yeah.
And the serpent.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's so cool. Hold on,
It is.
bring it up here. Here it is.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at the snake. It wraps around it. Like it coils around it. And then look at the tongue on it.
Yeah, I'm zooming in.
Yeah, I can zoom in too. Hold on. Let me just bring it closer
Yeah.
so I can help you out.
Oh, yeah.
See the tongue from the snake?
Yep. Yeah.
And this is a one of a kind. There's no other like it. This was handmade. Very, very, very beautiful one, man. Let me go to the other picture here, the other side of it. Let me zoom in on it. Go ahead and start from the bottom. See this here? It looks like a C here. Could be a coat thing. It looks like a warp hole or something. This is the body of the snake.
Bro, that's a spider web.
Yeah, here's the spider web.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful spider web. Here's the pentagram. That's so cool that they put this in it, and it's part of a vein of the wand, because it has like veins on it. Like it's just all over the place. This one looks like it has like thorns. It looks like thorns, like in this part, and it's very 3D because you can see how it sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's popping. It's like a pop out.
Yeah, it's indented.
This here is very cool, especially this
But
here.
the fact that it's handmade, that's really cool.
Yeah, handmade. You can see all the details.
That's really
here.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Very, 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 very pretty. It's my favorite piece of all my pieces. This is my wand.
I imagine. I need to get. Yeah.
They had another one that was a little bit cheaper. It had like a green stone on it.
Emerald. Okay.
And then they had a really big one. And that one was like almost like 300 and something, like almost $400.
Yeah.
And it had like it was a bigger wand. Maybe eventually I'll get that one if nobody gets it. But I love this one. This one, the details on it and everything is just, it's the one it's been calling me to get it, and I got it.
No, shit gets ridiculous. Like, there was this Hanuman sword I wanted to get, or Hanuman dagger, sorry, and it was like $600.
Yeah, I believe it too. I believe it.
And that was a cheap one. So yeah,
They can get pricey,
mm-hmm.
and it's but these are like instruments. These are tools for us, like
But
especially for me.
to be handmade, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Handmade and a lot of energy from it. Since I've been with it and stuff, like the energy is just you can feel it when you hold it. Like it's very, very sturdy, very strong, very like very firm, very heavy too. It's a little heavy, but it's you can feel it. You could when I'm holding it, I just feel different. It just feels more in tune. I feel I don't know. This maybe is me, right? But I feel it. I feel it even in my third eye. Like I can feel like the charge. That's why I don't hold it so much. I put it to the side because it has a lot of energy. One of a kind. I've never seen any one like this before. Oh, Doc chopped off. He'll be back. Um, very unique. I need to take a moment and count how many stars it has. Um, so let's see here. I have to count it because there's just so many. It's 1, 2, 3,
No, we will not respect them here.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I believe there's 19 stars on here. I'm gonna have to recount it. It's just there's so many. It's like when you go around, it kind of is like there's little hidden stars. So it's like sometimes it's a little difficult in counting. But man, this is so magical, so pretty. And I gotta hand it down. If anything was to happen to me, I gotta hand it down. This is a very beautiful piece, and this is always gonna be here, even when I'm gone. This is gonna be here. Oh, this one has like 3 P's on here. So cool. But if Doc doesn't get back, I mean, he should be coming back. If not, it's good to wrap it up. I'll wrap it up like at 2 p.m. So that way, I'm pretty sure he's gonna have his lunch because he needs to eat. Oh, confirmation train, lunch. When I say lunch or anything that's possibly gonna be happening, the train. And there's only one hog. That's so cool. So I already had my lunch. I had my lunch during when Doc was talking. I ate my sandwich, and I'm gonna get going. And it's a movie that I want to watch here, and confirmation train. In the future, I'm gonna do shirts. I'm gonna make some shirts and see if anybody buys it. But it'd be confirmation train. Like it'd be like an inside thing here because the train. I live pretty close to the train station, but yeah, the derailment, that craziness over in Ohio continues to go on, and I feel bad for people downstream. It's just it's like people in Pittsburgh, close to the side of Pennsylvania. They're gonna get a lot of that fallout from that train, and they're so worried about the people of Ohio, but they need to focus also on the people of Pennsylvania because they're going to be getting symptoms and they don't even know it, but they're inhaling toxic fumes and toxic chemicals that were in the air that came from that train. So it's gonna be bad. So I just see a lot of people getting sick. I see a lot of lawsuits. You know how they have those commercials where you're near that train derailment in Ohio? Well, we have a lawyer for you. Call this 800 whatever, join the class action lawsuit ensuing the rail and possibly the government, and who knows what these lawyers will go after. They're the ones that get rich, not the people. The lawyers, they get the big bucks and you get the leftovers. So I guess I'm just going to wrap up the show now. So thank you for watching. Albie, thank you for coming through. Thank you for those guests that came through. And Doc Lucians, I appreciate you, man. You're awesome. Have a good day. I appreciate the love from everyone. Albie, you have a good day too. And I'll catch everyone on the flip side. I'll probably do a show later on this evening. So stay tuned to that. And just go have a good day and, do something with your life and make it positive. Peace.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. But you always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost.
Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time, it's how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.